Dear brothers and sisters, it's so nice to see all of you here. Let's address some of the questions we picked up for today.
When someone we love does not accept our love, should we stop loving them?
Love should never be stopped. As we look at our lives, love is at the core of our existence. In our soul, which is our real self, is a part of God. And God is an ocean of all love. All love emanates from the Creator. And so our soul is also full of love. And all of our scriptures are telling us that those who love are the ones who find God. So love is very, very important in our lives. As a person, we need to be loving, and we also need love ourselves. And so, as a person, we want to do our very best because we love those who we think are dear to us, to be able to make their lives better. If you look at the life of a parent and a child, the relationship between a child and parent in this world is considered one relationship which is maybe the strongest. And so in that, there's always love flowing from the parents to the children, and hopefully reciprocating back from the children to the parents. Now the parents, out of love for the child, want to do the very best for the child. Yeah. Sometimes you get to a point where the child is not receptive to that love. And so at that stage, it's not that the parents should stop loving the child. I think the parent or the one who's giving the love needs to look at how they are delivering that love to the child. Yeah. If we get in a state where we overdo things, when we're overbearing, where we get to a state in which we're kind of not letting the child or the one that we love live their life openly, and we got like too much protection, let me say the right word, because wherever there's love, there's always protection. As a parent, you want to protect the child. As a husband, you want to protect the wife. As a sibling, you want to protect our siblings. As a friend, you want to protect your friend. So wherever there's love, there's protection. But now when the protection gets to a point where it makes the other person not be able to breathe properly, then we need to question ourselves, are we doing the right thing? Love should never be stopped. Sant Rajinder Singh Maharaj wrote that love has only a beginning, it has no end. So love in our life should keep on coming from us to everyone else. But we need to also be in a state of looking at who the love is going to and what is the effect of our love on them. Okay. And so there are times in life, and this happens with people, either it's in the family or it's people who are very close to you, because that's where your love goes generally. And so many times it looks like you want to love someone, you want to help their life, you want to make it better, but they don't want it. Because they're like rejecting you in a process, or they want to lead their own lives, so they don't want anything to come from you. It doesn't mean that you stop caring for them. You should look at your relationship with them. You should see what is it that you're doing. And you should make sure that you're not overbearing. Because when you get overbearing on anyone else, no one likes that. We live in a very different age than we used to, like say 100, 200 years ago. Today we're all taught to be individuals. We're all very educated. We learn a lot, we know a lot. And so everyone thinks they know a lot. And so no one wants to be told everything all the time. Okay? And so if you love someone and if you are going to be so overbearing, then the effect is not going to be positive. So one needs to look at oneself, not stop loving. Love needs to be given and love needs to be received. But when you give love, you have to be sure that the one who wants to receive love is receiving it properly. And the key is to be looking at the situation and be able to understand how much is that someone would take from you, and to make the relationship such that it's not where it's so overbearing that it starts to create difficulties then. And that's how we should look at life. But we should never stop loving, because love should always go from us, not only to our family members, not only to our friends, but also in general to everyone that we meet, everyone in our whole societies or people all on the globe, and we have interactions with many people. So from us, love should always flow towards others. And if we feel that someone does not want to receive it, we should look at the situation. We should reconsider what is happening. If it seems like we are like too overbearing, we can pull back a little bit. But love should never stop from us going to everyone else.
When someone suffers from a brain disorder, how can we help them continue their spiritual journey?
Brain disorder could happen through many different incidents. You can have an accident and something could go wrong. With time, as we age, we all have trouble with remembering things. Alzheimer and all those other activities start to happen in our lives. And so it looks like the brain is not working as it used to be, when we were younger. The thing to remember is that the brain is a physical organ in the human body. Okay? So all physical organs in the body with time deteriorate. Because as we age, the body is a machinery, so things start to fade away. And similarly, the brain is also an organ, so that organ might not work as well. Whether it's with time it's getting there, whether there's an accident, whether something else has happened, whether you get like a cyst there or a growth happens in the brain. There are many ways by which the brain is now not functioning as it was before. So one should remember that that's the non-functioning of a physical organ. It's a physical organ, a physical body. But the soul, which is giving life to the body, is still intact. Nothing goes wrong with the soul. The soul is a part of God. The soul is conscious. The soul is loving. So that soul is always there, whether the brain works properly or not, whether the kidney works properly or not, whether the liver works properly or not. Doesn't matter. The soul is always perfect. It's always in its full working conditions. So we need to encourage that. So as a friend or as a caretaker or as someone, taking care of our parents, grandparents, if we feel that they're not operating as well mentally or through the brain as they should be, then we should realize that we can definitely help them in the spiritual arena, because there's nothing wrong with the soul. Okay? So we can encourage them to meditate, even though they might have a tough time to meditate. We can encourage them to listen to satsang. We can read spiritual books to them. We can take them to satsang if physically they're able to go there. We can sit with them and do simran. So there are many things we can do which will help the soul. The soul's journey is different than the physical journey of the body. Okay? The soul has been transmigrating from one existence to another. So it's on its own spiritual journey back to God. The bodies come and go. And so while we are in this human body, when we have this opportunity to know God, we need to be encouraging the soul so that it can reach its goal. And so someone who's dear to us, someone that we know, someone that we care about, if they go through trauma in their life where the brain is not functioning as well, then we need to keep the patience, because many times, as we age also, people forget. And then if they talk to you, they say something, they want to repeat it and repeat it and repeat it. And you say, why are they repeating this thing, And many times they may remember something from the past and they don't remember anything which is happening currently. So all kinds of things happen. So we need to have patience. We need to realize that the real self is intact, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just that one of the organs is not working. Okay? If the organ is not working, we need to be patient enough with them so that we can try to focus their attention in the spiritual arena. And like I said before, by talking about God, by reading the spiritual writings to them, attending satsang, by being able to meditate, these are all activities which are helpful. So irrespective of what organ of the body goes away, whether it's the brain or anything else, we definitely can help those that we care about, those that we love, by showing patience, by creating an atmosphere which is spiritual, by guiding them towards spirituality, because the soul also in the journey back home, and whatever help it can get from the ones around them physically, it would help them to be able to reach their goals.
How can we receive an award or recognition such that it does not impede our spiritual growth?
When we look at our lives in this world, and in many arenas of this world, we get rewarded when we've done something well. If we stand first in the class, let's say we get an award or something. If we win the 100-meter dash race, we get an award. If we've done well at work, let's say we brought the most business to the company with the best salesperson of the month, we get a reward. So rewards are a means of recognizing that the effort that we put in was a good effort in different aspects of life. Now, when we get an award like that, we should not let it go towards the ego and think like we are better than everyone else. Because as soon as we think we are better than everyone else, then we start to go on a down spiral, because then we'll start to look down upon others, and we think like no one can do as we can do, and then all difficulties start to come in our life. So the key is to recognize two things. One is the grace of God, because if the grace of God is not there taking care of us, we will never be able to get that award. We can also be grateful to others that have helped us. Let's say we get an award in the educational field. So we should be grateful to our teachers, the ones who taught us. If we do really well in sports, then we should be grateful to our coach. And it's the same thing with other things. If we do well at work too, then we should be grateful to some of our managers or our guides or who should be helping us. That someone helped us, and then we should know that we did put in a good effort. Okay. And that, I think, is very important to recognize. As we put in an effort, then the results will come based on the kind of efforts that we put in. Sometimes we put in effort and we have expectations. And that we should stay away from, because any expectation that we set for ourselves, as soon as that is not met, then we are in great turmoil. Because if we set an expectation that this should happen, and we work hard towards it, but it doesn't happen, then one gets devastated. So our job is not to set an expectation that we will get an award, but we should work towards it, we should do the very best for it. Then when we get it, then we should be grateful to God and to others who helped us that we got an award. And so the key is to recognize that the award that we got is through the grace of God, through the help that we get from others, and through our hard work. And that's why we were awarded. And it should not be that it's like we are great, and it should not be to boost our ego. Because if we start to think like that, then we will never be closer to God. One of the saints has said, "Jahan Hari hai, wahan main nahi, jahan main hai, wahan Hari nahi, prem gali ati sankri, ja mein dona samay." So it says, wherever there is ego, there's no question of God being there, because ego makes us lead a life of duality. And duality means that there's one and there's the other one, and there's a difference. That there's one, there's difference. Wherever there's God, there's no duality, there's unity, that there's only one. And so here, Kabir Sahib is saying that wherever we think of ego, we think of duality, so there's no question of God being there. And so whenever we are thinking of God, there is where the unity is. So when we are awarded, we need to be grateful to the giver. We need to know that help is coming to us from some arena. We need to work hard to be able to achieve those awards. It's not like those awards come by themselves. It's not like, sometimes we think of this guy or this girl who's in our class, they don't study that hard, but they get an A grade all the time. We all think like that, especially the ones who get Bs, If you get an A, you're not going to worry who else gets an A. You're going to say, why did this guy got an A? I didn't get one. That happens to all of us, right? So it's the hard work that we put in that gives the results. Okay? And that's what we should be grateful to God for. And we should be sure that if we've achieved something, and it's good to achieve things in life because it shows the effect of an effort, then it should help us put in a greater effort. And also, if we put in an effort, and if we get good at something, then we should maybe use that skills that we gain to help someone else too, not feel like they'll be in competition with us, but to know that, okay, if I did well and if I learned something, if I can share with someone else, that's good because their life will get better too. So we need to look at it from that point of view.
In today's world of instant communications, how can we fully focus on our meditations when we are under pressure to respond to someone?
We're living in an age where communication has changed a lot. There were the times when to communicate, we would write letters. And letters would take a few days to get to the other person, and then they would respond. Take a few days for things to come back to us. And then came the fax machines, where you can send a message right away, and the other person receives it. And that too, we had to. I remember the days when the fax machines did come in. Or before the fax machines come in, we had that. What do you call that? The telex we used to send telexes from one area to another. When you're working on a project, if you have a business which is international, for you to get some information to the parties on the other side, you send a telex. There were only a few companies which would do that. So you mail them a letter. They would telex it to that part of the world. They would get it there. They would mail it to the other. So it still took a few days. Then the fax machines came, and then with the fax machine, you can directly transmit. But then there was still no expectation that the response will come very quickly, because you knew that what you've sent and will come back will take a while. Today what has happened is, with all the instant messaging and everything else there through the internet, as soon as we send a message, we feel we should get a response. We don't realize what the other party might be doing at that time. But it's become like kind of most people are living that mode. If you send any message to someone, you expect a response right away. And the mechanism by which now you can even find out, this guy read the message and he or she still didn't respond. And that's even worse, right? Previously you didn't know, but in the last few years now you can figure out they read my message. So technology is very good. It brings good things into our life, but then it makes life difficult in other areas too. So the expectation of responses is there. What we need to understand is, for work, you need to meet. Okay. Previously, what would happen is, you would set a meeting, you have once a week meeting with 4 or 5 people on a project or whatever you're doing, and you go from there, have the physical meeting be done. Now, You want the meetings to be, through Zoom and all this stuff, you want the meetings to be entertaining too, and you need to respond very quickly. The thing that we should keep in mind is what is really important to us. If it is important to fulfill the purpose of our life, then we know that the spiritual arena should get the most importance. If we get to that stage, then in the spiritual arena for us to go, meditations need to get great importance. And this is why we set up a time and a space to meditate. Yeah. And so that is our time in which we are focusing on our goal. So we don't want any distractions at that time. As you meditate, you need to know that this time I have kept for my spiritual practices. This is important to me. It's the same thing, like many times if you're eating food, okay? If you're eating food and someone sends you a message, you try not to respond to them, you finish your food, then you respond. Why? Because you say, hey, eating is very important to me. If you're taking a shower, an email comes and you got soap all over your body, you're not going to respond to that email till all the soap is gone, you're dried, then you say, okay, I'll deal with it, right? So why do we have to respond when we meditate? We shouldn't be bothered, we should keep that system away from us. We should know this is a sacred time. This is a time to meet God. This is very important to me. And at that time, so whatever your gadgets are, you need to turn them off or keep them in whatever modes you have to, or be away from them so they can't get to you. And meditate at that time. Because if you don't do that, then you're never going to be able to reach your goals. If anything that you need to do, you need concentrated time for it. If you're distracted in that time, it's any project if you do too. If you develop, let's say, software, and if you want to do software, if you get distracted by this thing or this thing, you'll never be able to do that. So same thing with meditation. It's a concentrated time. We need to focus on a goal. And we should not feel guilty. We should know that there's no guilt that at that time we're not responding to someone. And it's not the end of the world if it takes an hour or two to respond to someone. It's just like they think you should respond instantaneously. So it's all a question of understanding things well. Okay? Because sleep is important to you, so you cut the phone off and you don't let any telephone come to you. So why should you have the emails bother you when you meditate? So meditation is much more important than your sleep. Okay? So the key is to understand what is important to us and then give preference to what is important. So I would say that you should set the times for your meditations, and that times you should be in a state where no disturbance can come to you, so you can meditate properly. And there should be no guilt in that. It's like you're going towards your goal. There's no guilt. If you feel guilty every night you turn your phone off before you sleep, you'll never be able to go to sleep. Okay? So it's the same thing as when you meditate, you should meditate properly. You should get away from all the distractions, all of your attention should be within yourself. And then you'll be able to meditate properly, and then you'll have the right spiritual experiences. So let us meditate for a few minutes. I know you meditated a lot before, but a few minutes is good. Every chance you have to meditate is good. Please close your eyes very gently, just like you close them when you go to sleep. Your eyeballs should be straight, focus 8 or 10 inches in front of you. And as you close your eyes, those of you who have been initiated in the mysteries of the beyond, please do your Simran. And those of you who are new here, please repeat any name of God that you feel comfortable with. This repetition of God's name should be done mentally and not out loud. I pray to God Almighty to help each and every one of us experience the joys within. And it's my prayer to the three great spiritual masters of the past century, Hazur Baba Sawan Singh Ji Maharaj, Param Sant Gopal Singh Ji Maharaj, and the Alpur Darshan Singh Ji Maharaj, to help each and every one of us experience the divine light in its effulgence. We'll be sitting for a few minutes. I'll be getting you out of that meditative state. And my best wishes are with each and every one of you. Please leave off. Please leave off.